This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Brought to you by the North Law Firm. For car accidents and negligent security cases, call Joe at 239-337-1191. By Crime Stoppers of Southwest Florida. Report crimes and get paid with nobody knowing your identity. 1-800-700-TIPS. And by Lee Health.
Southwest Florida, welcome to another edition of Lee Pitts Live. Where are we? We are nestled in front of the Caloochee River here in Fort Myers at the Burroughs home, the magnificent historical Burroughs home. And that bridge that you see there is the Edison Bridge, headed south, coming from Cape Coral, North Fort Myers area, headed into the city of Fort Myers. This is Lee Pitts Live, of course, and I'm the host of the show. We have what I consider a dynamic show in store for you today. We'll get a chance to talk to the city councilman, Johnny Streets. I haven't had him on the show in a while, Fort Myers City Councilman. And we'll also find out what's going on with the upcoming Lee Pitts Live After Work, which will be taking place on March 8th. All that's happening on Lee Pitts Live. We'll be right back. Southwest Florida, welcome back to Lee Pitts Live. If you see that I'm all smiles, it's because I finally get a chance to talk to City Councilman Johnny Streets. I don't mean that in a way that I can't get him on the show, but he's a busy man, and I've been wanting to get him booked, so we took the time out to get him booked. And what an appropriate place to do the interview is right here at the Burroughs home, nestled on the Caloochee River in Fort Myers. Welcome to the show, Councilman.
Thank you, Lee, and I'm honored to be here in your presence.
Ward 2. I've done like 25,000 interviews, but whenever I talk to you, it's the interview that I look forward to because I always go away from my conversations with you feeling that I'm a better person for the experience in terms of your knowledge and your candidness about things that are going on around us, and your sincerity, because you and I go way back. We probably met in the early 90s. You used to come out to the swimming pool when I was teaching at the Lee Pitts Swim School, right. And you have some kind words for the students. You were, at that time, you were Sergeant Streets. Everybody knew you. They still call you Sergeant Streets?
Yes, they do.
And that had become like your moniker.
Some other things.
All right, that was your moniker. So you always been a person that touched the common man. And that's me saying that. And my question to you is, where did you get that basic relating to the common man from, and how did you maintain it even at your statue? And right now, as a city councilman, I know you don't like to put yourself up in any high esteem, but you're in an important position.
Well, that came from, first of all, from home.
Mm-hmm.
I had two loving parents, and I had a great loving sister. But we also, during those times when you hear this thing about it takes a village, the village had a very important part in bringing me up. And we lived among humble people that were not afraid to help someone else regardless of what their status was.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I said is that I like to get you on the show because you always learn something. Another reason I like inviting you on the show because you always bring me a book, so I get a book. This time you brought me another great book, What Truth Sounds Like by Michael Eric Dyson. You didn't know this, the public, I'm letting you guys know. Johnny's Councilman Street did not know that I was a big fan of Michael Eric Dyson, but what he does know is that he and I have generally similar philosophies, and he knew I would like this book, so thanks for this book, man.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you have it.
Why you picked that book?
Why I picked that book? Because it just come out, but it talks about the things that, a conversation about race that people had years ago that is probably relevant today.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, that the number 19, 2019, it could symbol divisiveness, but this will help bring us back together along with having conversations about race. And I think that might be the issue, is that we don't want to talk to each other.
Speaking about conversation about race, which you have never avoided, but you do it in such a diplomatic way that people listen. And here's what I mean. When we talk about race and you just got the same people just rah, 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 and not having any substance, people tune them out. When a person like you talk about race, we know that you're coming from a place of experience and knowledge and not just saying things. Having said that, one of the things that you said, Lee, years ago, you me with my skin color and my TV show and you with your black skin, we would not have been able to sit right here in the city of Fort Myers at the Burroughs home and tape this television show. Only thing we could have done here has been maintenance crew, right?
Absolutely. Probably the powers to be in the days gone past wouldn't have allowed this. The only thing they would have allowed, and I'm part of it, was us to be maintenance men to probably make sure that if someone else wanted to come in and do this that didn't look like us, it was clean.
What does that say about progress, though?
That says a whole lot about progress, is that you got to keep on keeping on, and you got to stand for something, and maybe you may not get it today, but you might win tomorrow, but bring somebody else with you to help you. Don't try to do everything by yourself. And be respectful of people, and then they may not like you, but they'll respect your how you presenting yourself. Not in an adversarial behavior, but can we work together?
That type of philosophy and that thought process, does that permeate throughout the Fort Myers City Council, city managers, or is that always an ongoing process of getting everybody working in harmony towards a better city of Fort Myers as it relates to cultures, income status of people, race, all these various things? Is that always a work in progress or no?
Well, it's always a work in progress, and what people have to remember sometimes is that we are different in cultures. That doesn't mean that one culture may be deficient. There's no culture that's deficient. That culture is different. And we have to talk to each other to understand, why am I who I am and why are you who you are? And I think once that conversation starts, we're all actually going to the same direction. We just how we get there.
Now, you can remember the time when the Fort Myers City Council was all white people and the mayor was white. Now we got, I would think that you can remember that time. And now we have 3 African Americans on the Fort Myers City Council. Does that change the dynamic in any way?
It really does, and sometimes we, as African Americans, our 3, we don't always agree. But I think what we have to do is put our heads together and take our hands out of certain things and present ourselves in such a way that when we are trying to get something across, and we may need 1 vote, that we have to be able to present it in such a way that that other person or other people might say, you know, I think they got something going there. I want to be a part of that, as opposed to it being the other way.
I got you.
You have to mediate and negotiate, but be sincere and have the facts.
Let me ask you this, that you mentioned that. In general, as you guys deliberate on a lot of different things every month, I think it is, you have city council meetings?
We have city council twice a month,
Twice
and
a
we
month.
have special meetings.
Let's, before I ask my question, let's go ahead and plug the times for city council meetings each month.
City council meetings are on the 1st and 3rd Monday of each month.
Okay.
Unless it's a holiday, it will fall on that Tuesday.
Gotcha. When all those different things are coming across your platform there, does race generally have some implications in most major decisions that are made on how different races see things and economic status of different various people in the city? Does that some kind of way you can find it within the construct?
I don't necessarily believe race has anything to do with it. I think it's we have to understand what's best for the city and how it's going to be inclusive of everybody.
Okay.
Not because in this ward, and it's predominantly African American, but we have to look at, if you want to get some cooperation and collaboration, you have to be inclusive of everybody, and what will the citizens allow?
When we see you sitting on the city council, one of the things we say, okay, Johnny Streets has a law enforcement background. He's not just sitting on city council. He's walked the streets, community policing. He should be able to bring some of his expertise to law enforcement concepts in the city of Fort Myers. Are you able to bring some of your background expertise to the process?
Well, yes, I have, and some of it has been rejected.
I see.
Because someone, and it's not been adversarial, is that I just have been there and knowing how what is still over there at the department, how people react. Again, I have to be upfront and truthful. I can't say, well, I'm going along just to get along. That's not what this is all about. I do have a lot of things that I can bring, so does the others, like the mayor and all the others. But at some point in time, if you haven't been there and you haven't lived it, but then you may not understand where I'm coming from.
Give me your big three. What are some, like, in the Johnny Streets world right now, how law enforcement is done in the city of Fort Myers? I would do these three things this way. Your big three.
First of all, you got to be in the community. You have to be a part of the community, not apart from it. Number two, you have to have a department that hires people that want to be there. Number three is that you have to provide the right equipment and training for your officers to do the job. Not only that, you have to be out there with them. You have to, not when I say them, the officers, but also you have to be in the community, also listening, not always talking, but listening. So public safety is always number one. If you don't have a safe city or a safe community, well, then you have problems. So then that gives you a roadmap that maybe we need to do something different, because finally I would say that if you keep doing the same thing over and over and you keep getting the same results, somewhere along the line somebody say that's a definition of insanity.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody's looking now and listening to this interview, and there are thousands looking and listening, they'll say, well, what is Johnny Street's viewpoint on how well or not well the current police chief, Derek Diggs, is doing? Go.
Well, one of the things I will support the chief, that's number one. But if things are not going in a way that will get totally community support and the support of his officers, I may have to mention something to the city manager that we might want to change this, or you might want to speak to the chief about this, because here's what happens if you don't do this or if you fail. But in all cases, whatever we do, make sure that the community has an opportunity to be heard, whether good or bad. Mm-hmm. You know, my thing is that I want to hear from the criminal. I want to know why you do what you do. Tell me some things. And then also I want to see that if you got enough power to do wrong, you got that same power to do right, and you can influence some others.
Mm-hmm. The Ward 2, mm-hmm. your ward, what are some unique things about Ward 2 as it relates to the city of Fort Myers that people have to be conscious of in order to make good decisions about Ward 2?
Ward 2, it kind of reminds me that when you look at a city map and you see we're color coded, my color for Ward 2 is like yellow. And when you look at one of those maps, and I'll get you one, it seems like someone just grabbed some yellow paint and threw it at that map, because I'm all over the place, which is good because it's really, really diverse. Mm-hmm. So I have the up and up, the down and down, but I have to every day somehow make everybody feel like they're comfortable, like they are somebody. Mm-hmm. So I have to even sometimes do the old police thing, is that I have to settle disputes that when the day is over, both parties leave thinking that they won.
Mm-hmm. One of the things about you, and I come across you throughout life, you've been like an uncle to me, is that you don't like me calling you a politician. When I say no, I'm not a politician, explain what you mean by that.
Well, it's very simple. I'm in the political arena.
Right.
And that entails a lot of things. I don't know what Webster has a definition for that, but I can't follow that, because when you see what happens today on a national level or a state level or local level, this is not what our young people want to see. Mm-hmm. They want to see somebody come into something that can get something done, and not sitting there having a stalemate and shutting down governments and holding people hostage. That's not a politician. That's a fool.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go to a break, come back, we're going to continue with this interview. We come back, I want you to start thinking about these things. I'm going to ask you, are you going to run again? Don't tell me yet. contaminated soil, where we are on that, the sludge, and also find out about where we are with the General Robert E. Lee, the Confederate soldier, emblems around the area. What your thoughts are on that? We'll be right back. Welcome back. I know everybody's waiting. I'm going to get right to it. We're here with the Councilman Johnny Streets, Ward 2 for the city of Fort Myers. Always good to get him here, and he always brings me some books. So it's always a little perk. I get some freebies along the way. My uncle. Let's go with the contaminated soil issue in Dunbar. It's been well documented that there was an area that had contaminated sludge, and the city of Fort Myers was trying to get it removed. Where are we with all of that?
Well, we're in the process of cleaning it up, and you touched on something earlier about council. Yes, I can remember council many years ago when it was all white men, and perhaps that was a time that they made the decision to dump the sludge in an area that was basically unincorporated. Now, why they made the decision to do that, I have my thoughts, but it's not about that. It's about that now we have to clean it up. We are cleaning it up. We want to make sure that we do everything possibly that we can to make sure that those who have some claims that they were somehow physically harmed or got contaminated by it, we don't want to leave no stone unturned. My thing is, as I say to my constituents anywhere, particularly the sludge area, I'm not going to fight the people that I represent. And they have a legitimate complaint that something happened years ago. But here's the thing, Lee, as I always say, and it's true today, when you don't pay going, you have to pay twice coming back. And it's costing us a hell of a whole lot of money.
That's a good old school philosophy there, man.
It's costing us a lot of money. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, we're going to get it cleaned up, and we're going to return that property back to the community as it should be.
Next year, this time, it should be a thing of the past?
Well, I'm hoping even before then, but we're going to do whatever we need to do, and we have been mandated by the Department of Environmental Protection and the community to make sure that we do what we say we're going to do.
Many African Americans, not only here locally, but around the country, and non-African Americans consider symbols of the Civil War, particularly of the Confederate images, Robert E. Lee, the flags and things of that nature, as being racist and need to be removed and put in museums. What has been your position on that in general?
Well, my position right now is that I won't give you my position for the simple fact that I think there's litigation between the county, the city, and the NAACP and other organizations. So at this particular time, until they get together or it comes before council to make a decision, I will not be able to divulge anything.
The city council, are you going to run for re-election?
Yes.
And what would that be, 2021?
Well, no, actually, wards 2, 4, and 6 are up for re-election this year. However, at
2019?
No, this year. Yes, 2019.
Really? Okay.
At the urging of the supervisor election at our last council meeting, and maybe at our next council meeting, to save the city and taxpayers money, it has been urged that we extend the election 1 year so that we can save money, get more participants in the 2020 election. Also for those in the 2022 election, which will coincide with governor's races. So yes, I am running.
I saw that proposal being put forward, so that was approved.
It may be coming for approval at our next council meeting. So we're just trying to be penny wise and get more participants. One thing a person needs to do, if you don't do anything else, is vote. I don't care who you vote for, but exercise that right.
They should be voting for Johnny Streets in the upcoming election. That's Lee Pitts saying that. Now, let's go to this. Every time you run for re-election, and I think this will be your third time?
Yes.
Right.
Fourth time.
Right. You won with landslides.
No.
Okay, except for the first one.
No.
You've basically been blowing people out.
Well, no. I don't use that term as blowing people out. I have been grateful, and I have been had some help in getting the message to the people that my heart is in the city of Fort Myers and its people. There's no popularity in being a council person because if I was that popular, and that means that I'm not doing my job.
I got you.
See, you have to say some things sometimes. It's not meant to hurt, but it's to give people that you might not like what I'm saying, but at least I'm going to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm. The reason I said that, I was going to lead to it, but I think you pretty much answered it. You are not complacent. You don't take anything for granted.
No.
You're going to get out there. People are going to see you pounding the pavement, knocking on the doors, and you're ready for anybody who's coming forward.
That's what I do. I don't know why, but I'm grateful. My last name is Streets, so I'm always on the streets. As we talked about, I'm real, I'm relevant, and I'm certainly reachable. You can find me anywhere, and I welcome people all time of day or night. If you call me at 12 o'clock at night, it must be something important, and I need to answer the phone.
Right, you were telling me, you said, Lee, I'm basically working 24 hours a day.
I enjoy working. It keeps me young.
Mm-hmm.
You see how good
but
I look?
You still get out there on that golf course.
Well, that's the stress buster,
Okay.
and I don't mean this personally against anybody, but if you have not a great day, you can go to the golf course and you can put somebody's name on that ball, and you can hit it as far as you want to, even if you want to lose it, but it makes you feel better. I don't take my frustrations out on family or any member or human being. I deal with it myself by playing golf and turning it over to the Creator.
Mm-hmm. Finally, we're sitting here at the Burroughs home, the historic Burroughs home, Caloosahatchee River in the background. This is basically like a park here. The city actually owns this particular property. Many people don't know that. What's the arrangement? How does that work?
Well, I think they have a committee that rents this out for the city, and it's our job to make sure that we maintain it. I just think it's so beautiful because, see, when you talk about history, years ago, we could come down to this bridge, we as young kids, and we could take a net, a dip net, and we could walk along that seawall and pick up all the blue crabs we want. That has changed over the years because of construction and so forth.
Really?
And things that have been off limit, and the crabs have moved further out. But that was a family thing that we could do, and we would never have to worry about fun and having a place to have a crab boil or anything, because that's how plentiful it was then.
See, people, you only learn about blue crab and all of that when you're watching Lee Pitts Live and listening to Councilman Johnny Street. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Jasmine, you've done an outstanding job.
It's been
City
a pleasure
Councilman.
to be here.
And we look forward to getting you back in the future, and good luck with the election. We'll get you in here around election time.
Thank you, Lee, and
saying
continue
goes,
to do what you
right,
do.
Stay right there. As the saying goes on this show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like Councilman Johnny Streets of Ward 2 who are doing it. When we come back, we'll talk about Lee Pitts Live after work coming up on March 8th.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching Lee Pitts Live. Of course, I'm Lee Pitts, the host of Lee Pitts Live. We're here at the Holiday Inn Airport in Fort Myers, and I want you to continue to watch Lee Pitts Live on television, on YouTube, and of course, listen to us on radio. But to get all of your shows to come right to you, just click on that subscribe button right there, and Lee Pitts Live will come right to you, your time, your way. That's Lee Pitts Live.